Have you ever wondered if you can sue our government? Based on the 1987 Constitution, our state may not be sued without its consent. So here with us today are law students from Mindanao State University, General Santos City, Ms. Rona Marsarto, a private practitioner, and Ms. Helen Grace Berneza, a government employee. So, Ms. Sarto, what is state immunity?
State immunity is the fundamental doctrine that stems from the principle that there can be no legal rights against the authority that makes the law on which the right depends itself. This principle is explicitly expressed in both the 1973 and the present Constitution, particularly in Section 3, Article 16 of the 1987 Constitution that provides the state may not be sued without its consent.
So, what are the basis for state immunity?
The constitutional basis of state immunity can be found in Section 3, Article 16 of the 1987 Constitution. It provides that state may not be sued without its consent. This doctrine makes a sovereign nation immune from suit to ensure that government time, efficiency, and resources are not wasted to attend litigation against private parties. There is also an international basis for this, which is
Parem parem, non habet imperium.
yes, that's right. Parem parem non habet imperium simply means that an equal does not have power over an equal. It is a general principle of international law that forms the basis of state immunity. There are also jurisprudential bases for state immunity. Actually, there are two, right?
Yes.
Number one is the positivist theory, which I already mentioned earlier. That there can be no legal right against the authority that makes the law on which the right depends itself.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
So that is the positivist theory. And number two is the sociological theory. This sociological theory states that if the state is amendable to suit, so all of its time would be spent defending itself from suit, against suit. So
What is the case for this man?
the case for this is the Department of Agriculture versus NLRC.
When can the state be sued?
As a general rule, the state may not be sued without its consent. However, it may be sued if it gives consent. These consents are either express or implied. Express consent of the state may be manifested through general or special law. Solicitor General cannot validly waive immunity from suit. Only the Congress can. Another form of consent is the implied consent. This is given when the state itself commences litigation or when it gives or enters into a contract. There is also an implied consent when the state enters into a business contract. However, this rule is not absolute.
Like for example, the case of Republic of the Philippines represented by Manila International Airport versus Spouses No Com.
Yes.
In this case, the state entity exercising government function takes away private property and without undergoing legal process, the state is not protected by the suit filed by an aggrieved party. So in this case, the state immunity is not applicable.
So, is state immunity applicable to all contracts entered into by the government?
Not all contracts entered into by the government operate as a waiver of its non-suability. Distinction must still be made between, number one, which is executed in the exercise of its sovereign function. Number two, another which is done in its proprietary capacity. A state may be said to have descended to the level of an individual and can this be deemed to have actually given its consent to be sued only when it enters into a business contract. it does not relate or does not apply to any contract that relates to the exercise of its sovereign functions.
Like in the case of Bermoy versus PNC or the Philippine Normal College, right?
Yes. One of the provisions of the charter states that, or that created the Philippine Normal College, states that the PNC or Philippine Normal College has the power to sue and be sued. The state has already given the consent by inventing the college with the express power to be sued in courts.
A while ago, you've mentioned suability and liability. Can you differentiate these two?
Of course, suability depends on the consent of the state to be sued. On the other hand, liability depends on the applicable law and the established facts.
Yes. And the circumstance that a state is suable does not necessarily mean that it is liable. On the other hand, it can never be held liable if it does not first consent to be sued.
Actually, liability is not considered by the mere fact that the state has allowed itself to be sued.
Yes, yes.
When the state waives its sovereign immunity, it is only giving the plaintiff the chance to prove,
If it can, that the defendant is liable.
So it's like courting. So even if the girl gives consent to the guy, doesn't mean that they will be together, or she will say yes.
Yes.
yeah, that's right.
I guess that's all the time we have. We would like to thank our guests, Ms. Rona Marsarto and Ms. Haylene Grace Berneza.
You're welcome anytime.
Our pleasure.
We hope na we could still invite you on our next coming episodes. With that, thank you for watching.
Pwede Kaya?
When the state waives its sovereign immunity, it is only giving the plaintiff the chance to prove,
If it can, that the defendant is liable.
It's like courting.
Yes.
So a boy cannot pursue courting a girl if the girl does not give her the consent. Him the consent rather.
yeah, but it's not immediately giving him the consent. That's not
So it's like courting.
Yeah. So, ang point kasi nag-give na siya ng consent, it's not automatically
liable siya.
mean na
Sasagutin.
sasagutin. So, paano siya is
If, sa
di,
law or
sa
courting.
courting act.
if
So-
it gives him the consent
So,
to be pursued, it
it doesn't,
doesn't
but it doesn't mean that if
nasasagot
the woman give consent to a man, it's automatically means yes.
It automatically means yes. If a girl consents a boy
To court her.
to court her, it does not automatically mean that she'll be saying yes.
Hindi ko matuloy ikaw.
Ulitin ko yung question ko.
So, it means,
Yung ano mo, yung sample.
Yung sample mo ha, tapos pasok ako. So, but if the girl give consent